pas anulimit të mbledhjes së dy qeverive, asaj të Kosovës dhe Shqipërisë në qershor të vitit 2023. Kaluan plot një vit e disa muaj, derisa jo qeverit, por dy kuvendet, ai i Shqipërisë dhe i Kosovës, arritën të mblidhen në një seancë të përbashkët. Ky hap, i cili duket se kërkoi kohë për t'u realizuar, shënoi një kthes të rëndësishme, duke quar përpara bashkëpunimin ndërmjet dy shteteve pas një periudhe pritjesh dhe ngërqesh mes kryeministrave Edi Rama dhe Albin Kurti. Të premten kuvendet e Kosovës dhe Shqipërisë mblodhen në një seancë të përbashkët parlamentare në Prishtinë, ku përmes një deklarate të përbashkët shprehën angazhimin e tyre për të mbështetur njëra tjetrën në arenën ndërkombëtare. Ata e theksuan gjithashtu vendosmërinë për të forcuar dhe thelluar bashkëpunimin mes dy shteteve. Gjatë seancës që zgjati 3 orë, liderët e të dyja vendeve mbajtën fjalime para deputetëve të pranishëm, ku lartësuan lidhjet historike mes dy vendeve. Deklarata e përbashkët, e cila u lexua nga kryetari i kuvendit të Kosovës, Glau Konjufsa, thekson se qëllimi i mbledhjes ishte që Kosova dhe Shqipëria ta bashkërëndonin agjendën kombëtare për arritjen e synimeve të përbashkëta strategjike. Në deklaratë gjithashtu u theksua shqetësimi pse BE-ja ende nuk e ka marrë parasysh kandidaturën e Kosovës për anëtarësim në BE dhe u bën thirrje 5 shteteve mosnjose ta njohin Kosovën. Deklarata gjithashtu dënoi sulmet e 24 shtatori 2023 në Banjsk në veri të Kosovës dhe shpërthimin në kanalin e ujit të Iberlepencit në veri. Ajo i bëri thirrje Serbisë të ekstradojë në Kosovë Milorad Vučić, i cili mori përgjegjësim për sulmin në Banjsk, ku mbeti i vrarë një rështer policor. Mirë po, çfarë u tha në seancën e përbashkët? Kryeministri i Shqipërisë Edi Rama i lartësoi lidhjet mes popujve të Shqipërisë dhe Kosovës, ndërkaq kritikoi Bashkimin Evropian për shëndrimet ndaj Prishtinës.
Ne duhet jemi dorë për dorë, paqedashës dhe paqeruajtës, për të bindur doradorës edhe skeptikët më të mëdhenj në Bashkimin Evropian për absurditetin e rezervave të tyre ndaj njohjes Kosovës si shtet sovran. Dhe në sytë e tyre, bara e fajt për degradimin e dialogut evropian të normalizimit duhet i bjerë e gjitha, vetëm Serbisë. Po kurse si, nuk duhet lejojmë që qoftë dhe 1 gram t'i bjerë Kosovës. Ne duam që Republika e Kosovës të njihet 1 orë më parë nga të gjitha ato vende evropiane që sot e gjithë ditën ngurojnë ta pranojnë realitetin e pakthyeshëm dhe të pandryshueshëm të pavarësisë saj. Përfshirë dhe nga vetë Serbia, të cilën Kosova e ka mundur me luftë këtu e 25 vjet më parë dhe s'ka më asnjë arsye për ta lidhur me të në asnjë formë dhe në asnjë mënyrë fatin evropian të saj. Ne duam të ndihmojmë me të gjitha sa kemi në dorë Kosovën në arritjen e objektivit historik aq thjesht e bukur të përcaktuar nga Ibrahim Rugova.
Rama tha se ai dhe presidenti e Kosovës Vjosa Osmani kërkuan heqjen e masave ndëshkuese të BE-s ndaj Kosovës gjatë një samiti BE Ballkani Perëndimor të mërkurën në Bruksel. Presidenti e Kosovës Vjosa Osmani tha se lidhjet e thella mes Kosovës dhe Shqipërisë janë të rënjosura në histori, në sakrifisë dhe në një vizion të përbashkët për të ardhmen. Osmani theksoi se për t'i kaluar sfidat dhe pengesat, Kosovës i nevojitet ndihma e Shqipërisë.
Ne po jetojmë në një kohë të trazuar e cila kërkon bashkëpunim dhe qëllim. Për Kosovën dhe Shqipërinë kjo nuk është thjesht një zgjedhje, por një domosdoshmëri. Një Shqipëri më e fortë do të thotë një Kosovë edhe më e fortë. Një Kosovë më e suksesshme e ngrit edhe më lart Shqipërinë. Historia nuk do të na gjykojë me dashamirësi nëse nuk arrim ta shfrytëzojmë këtë moment për të ndërtuar unitetin dhe harmoninë e domosdoshme. Prosperiteti i Kosovës dhe Shqipërisë është detyrë që na përket të gjithëve, liderëve, institucioneve dhe gjithë secilit qytetar. Secili prej nesh duhet ta luajë rolin e tij në avancimin e vizionit të shteteve dhe të qytetarëve tonë brenda familjes së kombeve evropiane. Lidhja e thellë ndërmjet Kosovës dhe Shqipërisë është e rrënjosur në histori, në sakrifica të panumërta dhe në një vizion të përbashkët për të ardhmen.
Ndërkohë, Rama sugjeroi që Kosova t'i dëshmoj bashkësisë ndërkombëtare që është e gatshme për integrime euroatlantike, duke i zbatuar të gjitha marrëveshjet për normalizimin e marrëdhënieve me Serbinë në mënyrë të njëanshme. Ndërkaq, kryeministri i Kosovës Albin Kurti tha se Shqipëria është krau mbështetës i Kosovës për te kalimin e sfidave për antarësim në organizatat ndërkombëtare.
Por dy republikat tona janë parlamentare dhe ju të dashur deputet përfaqësoni qytetarët e dy shteteve dhe pjesëtarët e të njëjtit komb. Dy shtetet tona, edhe pse të themeluara me një distancë kohore nga njëri tjetri, janë shprehje politike e së njëjtës aspirat shekullore të shqiptarëve për ruajtjen e identitetit dhe bashkimin kombëtar. Legjislatura e parë e Kuvendit të Shqipërisë e dal nga zgjedhjet pluraliste, e njohu shpalljen e Republikës Kosovës me rezolutën e datës 21 tetor 1991. Ndjenje vllazërisë, vetdia historike dhe përgjegjësia para qytetarëve që na kanë zgjedhur për t'i përfaqësuar motivojnë mbledhje si këto.
Ndërkohë, kryetari i Kuvendit të Kosovës Glau Konjufca tha në hapje të seancës se Kosova dhe Shqipëria janë me njëra tjetrën në çdo rrethan dhe pa asnjë kusht. Ai e falenderoi qeverinë e Shqipërisë për mbrojtjen e interesave të Kosovës dhe mbrojtjen e shtetësisë së Kosovës në arenën ndërkombëtare.
Në fund të këtij viti, për ta dëshmuar unitetin ton përballë sfidave politike e atyre gjeopolitike, të sigurisë që shoqërojnë rajonin dhe kontinentin ton edhe gjatë këtij viti. Edhe 2 muaj bën 3 vjet që nga agresioni i paprovokuar i Federatës Ruse mbi Ukrainën dhe mbi popullin e Ukrainës. Dhe ne si rajon edhe si Kosovë i kemi ndier ndikimet e tërthorta e të drejtë për drejta të këtij agresioni.
Ndërkaq, kryetaria e Kuvendit të Shqipërisë Elisa Sfiropali tha se Tirana dhe Prishtina ndajnë synimet dhe vizionet e njëjta drejt integrimit evropian.
Ne që po takohemi jemi pak. Duhet ishim më tepër. Duhet ishim me mira, me qindra mira dhe prap pak janë. Duhet të takohemi të gjithë. Aq sa jemi. Aq sa shqiptar ka bota me miliona.
Mirë, po kritika nuk është se mungoi në këtë seancë të përbashkët të dy kuvendeve. Kryeministri shqiptar Edi Rama ishte kritik dhe shprehu habin dhe shqetësimin e tij se në Kuvendin e Kosovës nuk është ngritur asnjë iniciativë për të adresuar procesin gjyqësor në Hag, një çështje që sipas tij përfaqëson një nivel të papranueshëm të drejtësisë.
Unë nuk rrit dot po ashtu, pa ja u thënë këtu vllazërisht, çudinë time për faktin se në këtë sallë nuk është ndërmarrë asnjëherë një nisëm për t'ju kërkuar përmes një rezolute të mbështetur nga të gjitha forcat politike, të paktën nga partitë shqiptare, të gjitha vendeve financuese të asaj gjykate, shqetësimin e madh mbi standardet e atij procesi. Dhe për të kërkuar ngritjen e një misioni verifikimi lidhur me këtë shqetësim.
Kjo është mbledhja e dytë mes kuvendeve të Shqipërisë dhe Kosovës, por për herë të parë mbajtur në Prishtinë. Mbledhja e fundit e dy kuvendeve u mbajt më 27 nëntor 2022.
Zona zotri, mirë se po takojmë në një edicion të ri të Politikos, këtu në televizion në gazetarën në kanalin 10. Unë jam Kushtrim Sadikut dhe t'jem bashkë me ju gjatë minutave në vazhdim. Sonë do të kemi një intervistë, besoj të mirë se ardhur edhe për juve, zonja zotri, sepse do të kem specialistin e politikës jashtme, specialistin në kuadrë të menaxhimit të konflikteve, njohësin e mirë të rrethanave në Balkan që nënkupton jo vetëm të Kosovës, por edhe në Bosnje, në Serbi dhe në Maqedoni, nikosisht natyrisht bashkëpunëtori ngushtë në një nga institutet më prestigjioze në botë përsa i takon politikës jashtme, bëhet fjalë për John Hopkins. Jam bashkë me zotin P.Joseph Në një intervistë që da fokusojmë rreth marrëdhënieve ndërmjet Kosovës dhe Shtetet Bashkuara të Amerikës, por rreth sfidave të cilat i ka Kosova në rrafshin e planit, po e quaj kështu, ndërkombëtar. Mr. Joseph, welcome to Channel 10.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming and talking with us.
My pleasure. Great to be with you, Kushtrim.
Thank you very much. Mr. Joseph, I will start with a question about the new American president. Speaking about the foreign relations, there are a lot of questions raised. What is going to happen and what will be the approach of the US diplomacy in the new Trump mandate? What is to be expected in your point of view?
Kushtrim, again, it's great to be back in Kosovo and to be with you and all of your viewers. With Trump, we have this saying, expect the unexpected. So that's the rule with Trump. I hope we can translate that. He's a very unpredictable guy. So there's a few things about him that are constant, but a lot of his decisions and his approach on foreign policy is impulsive. So we don't really know. But the big question for this region is how will he approach the war in Ukraine, the Russia aggression against Ukraine, because the approach there will have implications here, consequences for the Balkans, including particularly could be for Kosovo. And on terms of this region and in terms of Kosovo, I think what's positive is that he is familiar with Kosovo because he remembers the Washington Agreement of September 2020, and he met your former Prime Minister, Abdullah Hoti, alongside President Vučić, and so at least he's familiar, and in his mind, that agreement was positive. So that much we can say.
So President Trump had a harsh approach towards NATO also in the first mandate, Mr. Joseph. You just had a meeting with the General Secretary Mark Rutte in Brussels. What are your expectations, and do you expect changes within the alliance, within NATO?
On this, we have to hope that Donald Trump appreciates the benefit of NATO to the United States. Okay, but this is a hope. We don't know. He had a very problematic attitude towards NATO in the first round. Hopefully, he understands now that the alliance, the power of an alliance, is very beneficial to the United States, that it is a deterrent against further aggression from Vladimir Putin. But we don't know what is in Trump's head. You mentioned my visit to NATO headquarters.
And we can show the photos also.
Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly. I had this honor, Kushtrim, last week. This was exactly last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday.
That's right. So we were there at NATO headquarters, and I had the honor to present this report to the Secretary General and also to the Deputy Secretary General, Radmila Shekarinska, who's from your neighbor, from North Macedonia.
North Macedonia, yeah.
And it was great news for the entire region when Secretary General Rutte selected Radmila Shekarinska as his deputy. She's extremely capable, and of course, she knows the region, and that's very positive. And this was a part of our project.
What is the substance on that report, Mr. Joseph?
I will tell you. I'm very glad you asked. So what we did in this report, this is sponsored by, you see here the American flag, this is sponsored by the U.S. mission to NATO. So this is the State Department sponsored this. And I'm doing this in partnership with our organization in North Macedonia, Respected Forum, led by Sasha Ordanovsky, and my university, Johns Hopkins SAIS.
Famous journalist in Macedonia.
Exactly. You know, and so Sasha and I led this project. We brought youth leaders from around the Balkans, including from Kosovo. We have youth leaders who are interested in security matters. So from Kosovo, the youth leader is Bayram Getsi. He's captain in Kosovo Security Forces. He is taught in military academies, quite capable, and he was leading a team here. And in each one of the other WB6, we had a similar situation. And so the substance is that they are making recommendations within each country for what NATO can do to further stabilize the Balkans. So not just KFOR, but for example, the NATO advisory team that's here to give them a broader mandate, a new mandate. So these are some of the recommendations. This is on our website, on Johns Hopkins SAIS website, and I will give you that question.
It will be my pleasure, Mr. Joseph. Speaking about the alliance and NATO, you know the feelings of the Kosovars about NATO, and do you see any quick route for Kosovo to be a part of the alliance, since that is very important for Kosovo people?
It's more than important. It's the essential. NATO is the essential component for Kosovo's true stability and its progress. This is represented in NATO. And I wrote a report with excellent experts here like Lulzim Petsi, and also from Serbia, and from three of the non-recognizing states. This is on our SAIS and Wilson Center. This was a joint project called From Crisis to Convergence. And Kushtrim, it's Kosovo's path to NATO is the key for the entire region, for Kosovo and the entire region, including for Serbia. Because once Kosovo has a pathway that no one can block, that you don't have these non-recognizers, Greece, Romania, Slovakia, and Spain. Once Kosovo has this path, everything changes. Kosovo then is not in some position where Serbia can challenge and undermine its security. It becomes permanent. And this changes the approach in Serbia. Finally, Serbia will have to choose, is it in the West or is it in some, quote, balance with Russia and China? And so that's why NATO is essential for Kosovo. But the question is how to get that pathway. And
how to get that path, Mr. Joseph, since the four non-recognizing countries are asking or are looking for an agreement between Kosovo and Serbia. And on the other hand, we do see the situation that is very difficult regarding what is happening in the dialogue of Brussels. Is there any other way to be, for Kosovo to be part of NATO, or you need a full consensus of all countries which are members of NATO?
You do. NATO operates on consensus. And anyone who doesn't understand that can just look at North Macedonia, which has a new name because of because of Greece. So Greece was able to block North Macedonia. So you have to have consensus. But Kushtrim, this is the point. How do you convince these countries to do this? The key here, this is so important in this period, Kosovo has to take advantage and create its own positive destiny, not a negative destiny. Okay, so I'm coming here, I'm visiting here, and the trends here are mostly negative. We have a lot of tension in the north of Kosovo. You have to understand, it's very important for your viewers to understand that there's no just having territory of Kosovo in the north, taking territory without the people. I want to repeat that, Kushtrim. There's no territory without the people. There's not getting the north, and we don't need to think about the Serbs who live there. And that's the reality. The reality is Kosovo does not control the north. Kosovo still doesn't control the north. There are more police presence, but it is KFOR has greater presence, and we have to remember ultimately Kosovo the Republic of Kosovo is relying on NATO, on KFOR troops for its protection. It's in that sense protectorate. You're not a fully sovereign state.
Yeah, it is. It is true.
So this is my point. You have to regain control of your destiny, the true self-determination. You want to be truly self-determination. The irony is it goes through cooperation. Who is the biggest threat to Kosovo? The biggest threat? Serbia. Serbia is the biggest threat.
Serbia and Russia.
That's right. So what is the key? The avenue for Serbian influence and Russian influence, that avenue to come and disturb and undermine Kosovo, the avenue is when there are problems with Serbs here. And the opposite is true. If we have progress and integration of Kosovo Serbs in the north, everywhere, Gračanica, Štrpce, everywhere, Dečani. If we have integration, the more Serbs are integrated as citizens, full citizens of Kosovo, the less influence that Serbia has. That's so important. The more Kosovo Serbs are integrated into Kosovo society as full citizens and respected by the government and the police and the health institutions and schools, the more Kosovo Serbs are integrated, the less influence Serbia has. And it's, of course, the opposite is true. President Vučić wants there to be tension in Kosovo. The more tension there is with Serbs in Kosovo, the more influence he has, the more that the Serb community is around one political option. And the more he can exploit this against Kosovo. And that's what your viewers need to understand.
I'll come back to the northern part with different questions, Mr. Joseph, but I would continue with the relationship between United States and Russia. President Trump had promised that he will end the conflict in Ukraine. Do you expect a fast ending of the war? And if you do, Mr. Joseph, what are the consequences towards the other part of the Europe?
And for Kosovo, consequences could be quite significant for Kosovo. And to answer your question, Kushtrim, a fast solution to the war is a bad solution. Bad solution. Why is bad? Because it's very clear. And let me explain for your viewers.
Please.
Putin wants victory. Putin does not want a ceasefire. Putin does not want some temporary arrangement. Putin is not interested in the actual condition of Russian speaking citizens of Ukraine. The same way, Kushtrim, I don't believe that President Vučić really cares about the true condition of Serbs in Kosovo. In a similar way, because he would have different policies if he did. Each of them have a similar approach here. And so it's very, very important to understand Putin is not interested in just some ceasefire and some rights for Russian speakers in Ukraine. He doesn't want that. He wants a victory. And he particularly needs a victory at this time after having invested so much military power and lives. Very likely, we don't have an exact number, but probably over 100,000 Russians. So many Russians are killed that he's bringing in from North Korea. He's depending on Iran for drones. He's in a weak position, and he just lost his client in Syria, Bashar Assad. What does it do? It shows more weakness. And that's very dangerous. And he knows in his head what happened to Bashar Assad. He saw, like this, he fell. So he has to think, these are the kinds of things he has to think about. And so it's, for Putin, he wants something that shows victory, not just some ceasefire type arrangement and some rights for Russia. He's not interested in that. And that means Donald Trump will have a choice to make. If you want a fast solution, you will be giving in to Putin. But if you want a solution that will stabilize Europe and increase American influence, which Donald Trump should care about, then he will have to continue with the war for some time and signal to Putin that the United States will not just give him some victory.
Is there any chance that US and Russia could seek an opportunity to find solution via Ukraine, finishing with the Balkans open questions regarding Kosovo-Serbia, maybe Bosnia?
It could be part, and some people have recommended that. And this
is that a good option?
It's a terrible option.
Why?
Because this is the Putin approach. We have to understand, Kushtrim, throughout Europe, there are ethno-national divisions. It's not just in the Balkans. Look around, they're on almost throughout Europe. I think Portugal is the only country in Europe that is almost 100% it's Portuguese. Other have all sorts of borders. Even outside European Union, United Kingdom, you have Scotland as a case.
You have Northern Ireland also.
Also, Northern Ireland in so many other countries, Austrians living in Italy, and so many where the borders come through. Putin's approach is to divide Europe within itself and to divide Europe from the United States and to create divisions among people. And his approach, under Putin's approach, it's raw power. Raw power. You listen to us. And if you don't listen to us, if you don't act like Belarus or Armenia or
Moldova.
Yes. If you don't act like that, we will take your territory. This is the message to Ukraine. You didn't submit, so now we're going to take your territory. That's his approach. The Western approach is completely different. We operate on democratic coexistence, on rights. We don't say, oh, you have to live and divide your country. We don't say that. We say you live together in borders that we recognize by respecting human rights, where minorities have the rights to participate as free citizens, including here in Kosovo Serbs. These are two completely different concepts.
Of course.
The Russian and Chinese concept is raw power and division. The Western, the American approach, European Union approach, NATO approach, is to respect the rights of each of these countries and their nationalities that exist within a democratic framework.
Yeah. Mr. Joseph, what is to be expected for the Kosovo and Serbia problem? Do you see a chance that the Trump administration could prioritize the issue and eventually find a permanent solution? And when I speak about the permanent solution, I mean about the recognizing each other, Kosovo and Serbia, Serbia and Kosovo.
Okay, all right. First, what's good is that, as I said before, Donald Trump and some of his advisors know about Kosovo. And they know about Serbia. That's first. Second, of course, some of his advisors have a very close relationship with Belgrade.
Yes.
So that's not good for Kosovo. Okay? That's not good for Kosovo. Number three, we don't know the interest that they will have, how much interest. But if they do look at this approach, we have to remember what they maybe had in mind earlier, which was this kind of land swap approach, which is very dangerous, and hopefully they understand it is a terrible idea. But the smart...
Do you see a possibility of coming back those kind of ideas maybe with Trump?
I will tell you, I would say that if Ukraine and Russia are done on a partition, if for example, Crimea is like given, some kind of Yalta type thing, when Yalta, in Crimea. So if they do like that approach, then they will be opening the door for that here. But that would be very dangerous. And the question really is less about what the United States can do, because we don't know that. We don't know what Donald Trump is going to do. So we should leave that for a moment, Kushtrim.
Yes.
We should focus on what Kosovo can do. And what Kosovo can do is protect the sovereignty of the country by reducing tensions in the country, to stop having this posture of confrontation in the north. Instead, have cooperation. What I would do if I were new prime minister after you have elections, on the first day, Kushtrim, on the first day, I would offer 5-point plan of constructive, positive development
approach
of North. And it would have security component, it would have education component, health component, and it would have all of these components. I would have this very clear plan, and I'll give you one specific example on security. I would invite Kosovo Serbs who left the police to
come back?
To reapply.
Is that normal?
Yes.
Why?
It's normal to do that. If someone leaves, it's normal. In this situation, it's normal because the priority for Kosovo is to assert its sovereignty. Remember what I said at the beginning. It's not, you cannot have territory without the people. You cannot, it will not be tolerated. There's no ethnic cleansings that are going to be tolerated. There's K4 here. It's not going to be tolerated. This is a reality. And the thing is to invite them to reapply and to be vetted, to be carefully vetted. And those who do not have criminal background, and those who are not throwing Molotov cocktails in Zvečan, or organizing this, or part of Banska, or part of other disgraceful activities. Those, and we don't know the number. Maybe it's a small number, maybe it's a big number. But what we know we have to do for Kosovo's interest, for Republic of Kosovo, for Albanian interest, Kushtrim, I want to speak to you very clearly. This is in Albanian interest. Remember what I said. The more Kosovo Serbs are integrated as citizens, listen, Kushtrim, this is so important. The more they're integrated as citizens, the less influence Serbia has. This, what I'm talking about, this gesture, is in Albanian interest.
Yes, I understand completely, but Serbia, on the other hand, Mr. Joseph, is sponsoring directly or indirectly the terroristic acts there. A year ago was Banska's case. 2 weeks ago, it was another terroristic attack in Zubin Potok. And the international community is not sanctioning Serbia, but is leaving the sanctions towards Kosovo. Why is that happening?
Kushtrim, excellent question. It's one that I've asked, and I don't think it's right, okay? But we use this term in our personal lives and in our foreign policy, in country, the same. Zone of control. Zone of control. What is in our power to control? Kosovo, we have to remember this. And I really hope that your current government and Prime Minister understand this. Kosovo is a small country. Kosovo has threats to the country. Some of the threats are visible from within. Thousands and thousands of Kosovar Albanians leaving the country, professionals leaving the country. Yes. This is a disaster. What kind of a country are you going to have? What kind of a strategy as a small country, just to say we don't care what United States says, we don't care what European Union or NATO, we don't have to coordinate? This is not the strategy for a small country. Mm-hmm. To protect your borders, you need a strategy. Your strategy should be to bring your citizens, these who are Kosovo Serb citizens, to bring them as full partners and participants in this society. And you are the winners. Albanians are the winners then. And Serbia is the loser. The more you have that, the less that there are tensions, the better your path towards NATO and the European Union, and better is your security. And then with your security comes investment. With investment comes jobs. Mm-hmm. With that comes popularity for the government, people returning. You know, there are many Albanians. I met an Albanian taxi driver in Brussels. Brussels, yeah. He makes more money there, but he's not happy. They would rather be here. They would rather come home. But you have to have a strategy that creates that.
Have you made this kind of conversation with the Kosovar leaders, the Prime Minister, the President? Have you told that the positive approach towards North and all the other parts of Kosovo is more benefiting for the new country of Europe, which is Kosovo?
Yes, exactly. And remember, and let's call it Republic of Kosovo. Of course. Let's and be proud of that. Yeah. And the answer to your question is yes. And Kushtrim just recently in Washington on the 5th of December, I had the honor to host Deputy Prime Minister Besnik Bislimi. Mm-hmm. Maybe you saw on photographs.
I saw the photos.
I had this with two of his external advisors, with Jeta Krasniqi and with Vetan Soroy. And together with them, I had State Department officials, other U.S. government officials, officials from staff in Congress, and other experts of Balkans in Washington, and providing exactly this message that you're talking about, and looking for ways that Kosovo can strengthen its sovereignty and its true self-determination. But it cannot be achieved. I want to really say this, Kushtrim. The self-determination, the real sovereignty cannot be achieved with confrontation in the north. It will not work. It will not work. This confrontation, I'm telling you again, Kosovo does not have control of the north. You're still dependent on KFOR. Even Prime Minister Kurti had to ask KFOR for permission, and KFOR said no. Kosovo security forces are not coming. KFOR is still really, you're still under protection. Having confrontation will not achieve the result. What will achieve the result is cooperation, a constructive attitude, and that's what I would do on the first day. And we can talk also about association.
We can talk about what were the reactions in Washington after the conference?
Okay, I don't want to speak about that because we were...
That was closed?
Yes, this was a closed conference.
All right.
But you should ask, Deputy Prime Minister.
Of course.
But I believe that we had a very open conversation.
Clear. Here in Pristina...
And remember,
yes.
Kosovo has many friends in Washington, and I'm a friend of Kosovo. We want the Republic of Kosovo to succeed. And it can succeed in cooperation with the United States, with EU, with NATO, and in full cooperation with all of its citizens.
Yeah. Mr. Joseph, here in Pristina, and not only, there are a lot of fears regarding the appointment of Mr. Richard Grenell as a special envoy to the US President Trump. The relationship with the Prime Minister Kurti was very tough in the first mandate.
Yes.
What are your expectations towards this kind of relationship?
Look, it's very difficult. Remember, in the end, Trump is the guy who will make the decision, and Trump is impulsive. Trump likes deals. Richard Grenell likes to bring deals to Donald Trump. Okay, that's what he likes to bring a deal to Donald Trump. But the fact is, he appears to have a very close relationship in Belgrade. Does Richard Grenell. So, and they've announced a hotel venture there, with Jared Kushner.
Yes.
So, there's,
They announced plans also for Albania.
For Albania. So these,
that is the business approach that Mr. Grenell says that.
So Kosovo needs to show that it's also a country that wants the ear. They were satisfied in Washington, Trump and Grenell, when former Prime Minister Hoti signed Washington Agreement.
Washington Agreement, yeah.
So one approach, Kosovo can say, we want to explore on this infrastructure projects. This was a terrible mistake here in Kosovo to turn down this gas pipeline.
Yes.
This was a terrible mistake. But now would be a good opportunity to say, well, we want to explore.
Do you see opportunity to restart the relationship between Grenell and Mr. Kurti? I saw that it was reported not only in the Kosovar media, also in the media of region that Mr. Grenell erased some of the Twitter or X comments about Mr. Kurti.
Yes.
He had very harsh comments.
He did. Kushtrim, and you're correct to mention that. He has been critical. Look, is there a possibility to have this? I don't know Richard Grenell personally, but I would think that they're pragmatic enough if Prime Minister Kurti can show that he's not for confrontation and that he wants to cooperate and wants to have a cooperative relationship. If he can demonstrate that, hopefully they would say yes. But the key is really how can Kosovo recapture its destiny? And it cannot do that. I'm going to repeat myself, Kushtrim. You will not capture your destiny with confrontation in the north. You will lose your destiny.
Mr. Joseph, what is going to happen with the Ohrid agreement? Even this agreement had problems during the beginning. After it was reached, because it was not signed, but it was reached with the EU and US presence, of course. Serbian president had problems with acceptation, and Prime Minister Kurti also in different situations. He has looked for the signing, and of course after Banjska case and all of the northern part and Radojčić, the situation came more and more difficult.
Yes, and that's understandable. It's understandable. It's understandable for Kosovo to ask for signature by President Vučić especially when President Vučić says, I'm not bound by this agreement, and when Ana Brnabić writes a letter as Prime Minister to Brussels and says, Serbia does not consider this legally binding. So that's understandable. The EU position is that there are answers to that. The EU believes that, that the European Union Council has adopted the Brussels and Ohrid agreements, and therefore that Serbia's signature is not necessary. So that's a legal discussion. But I understand the view. I don't believe that President Vučić has good faith when it comes to this. I don't believe that. The key, Kushtrim, this is the point. The key in this relationship is how Kosovo can work with the United States and its friends to convince the non-recognizing states, Greece, Romania, Slovakia, and Spain, in my opinion. It's not Serbia. Kosovo does not leave its destiny to Serbia. Kosovo is a sovereign state. You do not need to beg anything from Serbia. What you do need to do is recover your destiny in this country by treating citizens correctly, asserting, helping Serbs integrate, cooperating with the United States, the EU, and NATO, and cooperating on this. Now, the association will be one way to do that, Kushtrim, but I'll explain to you how Kosovo has to do that.
There are a lot of people that are afraid of the association since Serbia is not recognizing Kosovo, and Serbia has such an actions like Banjska and all of the other actions that were contra Kosovo, that were against Kosovo. So there is a problem for the association because you don't have a good faith, as you said, with Serbian president, and of course Serbia is wanting and it's working towards mining the function and the existence of the new state of Kosovo. So.
Yes, Kushtrim, this is actually, for your viewers to know, is actually very simple. It sounds very complicated with this association and what will Serbia do and this. It's much simpler than that. The key for Kosovo, for its future, is through NATO, through a pathway, a membership of NATO. So the question is this, not what Serbia is going to do. Remember what I said, we want to decrease Serbian influence. There's no reason for Kosovo's future to be dependent on Belgrade and to be begging something from Belgrade. Kosovo never should do that. Your future is not dependent on Serbia. Your future is in NATO and European Union, but you have to get there.
Yeah. Well,
you have to. Let me finish. Yeah. The key is, and if I were Prime Minister, I would do this. I would go to the Quint countries, and I would say to them, you know what? I am ready to give this statute. I am ready. Because this is good work that you did, and we want to give this statute. We don't want you to have to go anymore checking with Belgrade and all of that. We don't want that. We want to control our own destiny.
Yes.
So I will take this statute and I will give it to our constitutional court, which is part of our sovereign system, and I will give it to it. But I want to ask you, United States. I want to ask you, France, Germany, Italy, United Kingdom. I want to ask you, once I give this, what will happen to our NATO future? Because that's the key for our security.
Is that a possibility, Mr. Joseph?
It is a possibility. That conversation you have to have that conversation, a serious conversation, and say, will we get MAP? MAP means Membership Action Plan. So I would say yes. Yes, I am ready to give this, and I want to know what will happen. Will we get a membership action plan from NATO? Will we be able to open our application for European Union? That's the questions I want to know. And that's what I would ask. But you have to remember, we have to change the dynamic.
Yeah.
We cannot have confrontation. We cannot have this, the answer that you will get will not be a good answer if there is confrontation in the north, if there are unilateral actions in the north, the uncoordinated actions. What I remember I said the first thing a new Kosovo prime minister should do is a new 5-point plan, constructive relations, security, healthcare, education, police, education, health, economy.
Yep.
All of those. And that will then give the confidence. And then that's the discussion, Kushtrim. NATO is the key for Kosovo's future.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question regarding the Prime Minister and President, Kosovo Prime Minister and Kosovo President. How do you see the role of Prime Minister Kurti and the role of President Osmani regarding the relationship with the United States?
Okay, look, first, their roles are defined by Kosovo Constitution. Okay, so this is the first thing, what each of them do. Each of them has their own responsibility. They're independent political figures. So I expect President Vjosa Osmani, who is the head of state of the state of Kosovo, I expect her to act independently and make her own decisions. And I expect Prime Minister Albin Kurti, who leads the government of the Republic of Kosovo, a sovereign, I expect him to make his own decisions. So that's it. And to the extent that they are on a different path, that's in some issues, that's understandable and normal. But President Osmani can make her own. She's extremely capable president. Prime Minister Kurti also. He knows and makes his own decisions. And it's very clear. And
how do you see the approach of Serbian President Vučić towards Kosovo and towards the dialogue itself?
Yes.
Do you see a will of Mr. Vučić to make peace with Kosovo and with Albanians here?
No.
No.
So, and let me say, I say it in Albanian. Yo.
Yo.
Yo. No, I don't see a good will.
Se.
No.
Why?
Because I'll explain this why. Because the status quo, what we call the status quo, the current condition, this uncertain, turbulent, is what suits Serbia. It suits Serbia to keep Kosovo in this weak, isolated situation where it's uncertain and to weaken Kosovo. That's what he wants. And he wants to have control over the Serb polity, that is the Serb community here in Kosovo, just as he does in Montenegro and he also in Bosnia-Herzegovina. He would like in Croatia as well, but it's not possible in Croatia. But here he would like to have that control, and he would like to keep Kosovo in this uncertain state and ultimately have some territorial partition, in my opinion. This is what he would want. And Kosovo should have the policy that is one of developing Kosovo's sovereignty, but not through confrontation with Kosovo Serbs. The posture should be to the Kosovo Serbs, Belgrade doesn't care about you. They don't really care about your interests, but we do in Pristina. This is the smart approach. I'm telling you, Kushtrim, I'm going to repeat it. The good relations with Kosovo Serbs are in Albanian interest.
Well, do you see an interest, speaking about the Serbs who live here in Kosovo and political parties which represent the Serb to be part of the Kosovo system? Do you see a will, a local will?
There's potential. I think that yes. I think the answer. I think there's potential.
Lista Srpska is part of
I understand.
of Mr. Vučić politics. That is clear.
That's right. And the more, this is the point I'm trying to make, the more tension that there is, the more of this tension in the north, the more that they will rally around Srpska Lista. The more that they rally around Srpska Lista, the more control Serbia has. We want to reduce Serbian influence. How do you reduce Serbian influence? By increasing the role and the security of Kosovo Serbs. Better position of Kosovo Serbs in Albania, less Serbian influence. I keep repeating that because it's so important, Kushtrim. That's a fundamental. Quickly, let me give you an example. The church, Serbian Orthodox Church, where are their great churches and remnants, legacy we say the patrimony, the Serbian Orthodox patrimony. It's in the south. It's south of the Iber River.
Yes.
So look at the Serbian Orthodox Church. Do they have the same interest as Vučić to divide? It would be disaster.
No.
Serbs living in Štrbce, in Gračanica, do they have the same interest? To divide the country would be disaster. Everyone they would be leaving. It would be very difficult for them. And I believe the Serbian Orthodox Church knows this. So your question is there a will? You're asking me.
Yeah.
Remember your question.
Yes.
Is there a will? Yes, because there's an interest. Because there is an interest, an underlying interest, but we have to stop the influence of Serbia.
Mr. Joseph, why is the international community having a soft approach to Serbia, especially since Serbia is protecting terrorists like Radojčić, and on the other hand is not with the Western allies in the Ukraine war? President Vučić is still having a close relationship with Russian President Putin.
You will see me agreeing with your question. I have been very critical, Kushtrim, of U.S. posture. That means the U.S. approach towards Serbia.
Why is happening that?
I will tell you, I did an interview in our country earlier this year. We have PBS, Public Broadcasting, and I was asked the same question. It's 2 words, Kushtrim, 2 words. Fear and illusion. Fear and illusion is exactly the answer to your question. This is what drives this policy towards Vučić, where there are measures, the punishment of Kosovo, and even after Banska, no punishment on Serbia. Why? Fear and illusion. What is the fear? The fear that, if we are tough on Serbia, they will go with Russia and China. This is the fear in the U.S. And the other is the illusion. They had the illusion. And if we're nice to President Vučić, and we say, you're okay, we put measures on Kosovo, we don't put measures on Serbia, then he will come over to our side. And I believe that this is a mistake, and I said this. We had a tremendous opportunity when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in February 2022. This was the moment for Serbia to have to choose and to be asked and for us to say, no, President Vučić, no. Vladimir Putin has imposed a choice on you. You can either be with Vladimir Putin in this attack, or you are with the West. Now you have...
Or maybe that question of ex-president, American President Bush, if you're not with me, you're against me.
At that point, it would be the correct thing. For any country that is a European Union candidate, that was the correct question. If you don't want to be a European Union candidate, that's okay. You want to be like Belarus? Okay. But you will live like Belarus. But we should not tolerate this, where European Union is giving enormous amount of euros to Serbia, financing this, and where United States is praising Serbia and again, punishing Kosovo, but not punishing Serbia after Banska. We don't know about Iber Le Pence. We don't know yet. Okay, they have to do investigation. But certainly Banska, we know. And this policy, this was a mistake. We should have asked immediately, told President Vučić, you have to choose. You're EU candidate. Are you? And we should have said, it's not our fault. This is President Putin has put you in this position. And now you have to choose. And in my opinion, Serbia only has one choice. I do not believe Russia and China represent an alternative to the West. Serbia is not Belarus and cannot be Belarus. Balkans is not next to Russia.
Yes.
China is distant. The economic relationships are with the European Union. Serbs want to be are completely Western oriented in their also, as in other people in the Balkans are oriented towards this. And also we see today President Vučić has a lot of trouble. He has a lot of domestic turmoil and protests against his rule. So in my opinion, we've had a wrong policy based on fear and illusion about Belgrade.
I want to ask you a question about the region, since you know, of course, Macedonia, Albania. How do you see the developments in the region? Albania has made significant steps towards the path of European Union. Macedonia, Northern Macedonia now is part of NATO, but has made a lot of changes. Nowadays, we can see dividings between Albanians and Macedonians. How do you see the recent situation?
Kech
in Macedonia?
In Albania. Yes, Kech in North Macedonia, Kech in the region. Kech, I say using Albanian word, bad. It's bad. And I call it, Kushtrim, the Balkans paradox. It's Kech when it should be Mir. We should be Mir, not Kech. It should be good, not bad.
Why is Kech in Northern Macedonia?
It's bad because, look, they're in a continuing uncertain situation because of Bulgaria. Bulgaria blocking them. And then France gave them a very weak agreement, not a good agreement, an agreement that you put Bulgarians in the constitution, and whenever Bulgaria wants to make more demands, they can. That's not a good agreement.
Yes.
And look, in terms of relationship with Albanians and Macedonians, you have turbulence because Dewey is no longer
part of the government.
And now they're opposition. There. But I know Arben Taravari, leader of the biggest party in Vlen, in the government, and you know they are still active. The Albanians have their voice, and they are cooperating with Prime Minister Mickoski. You had here a very good example. You had the Macedonian government, Prime Minister Mickoski, and Dr. Taravari, Minister Taravari.
They were in Pristina.
In Pristina for a joint, and my understanding, I was just in Skopje, is that was very positive. That with the rapport between Prime Minister Kurti and Prime Minister Mickoski was good, and that this was a very respectful. So we have to remember there's some positive things, but overall, North Macedonia has been kept in this isolation position. Albania, you know, the internal situation is not good in Tirana.
Why?
Because the opposition feels completely marginalized there, and it's not healthy in any democracy. You have to have strong...
Part of the opposition is imprisoned.
Yes, exactly. You have this, you had these big arrests, you know, very visible arrests. This is Kech. This is not good. This is not a good image for Prime Minister Rama.
But on the other hand, Prime Minister Rama is having great reports regarding foreign relations, regarding NATO and all of the requests.
You know, well, he's done skillful. He's been very skillful.
Yes.
There, and it shows you can have benefits. He's on migrant issues and taking in Afghans. He has played that skillfully, but internally politically, it's not healthy.
Yes.
In there. Bosnia-Herzegovina is a very unhealthy situation. But this entire region will never progress democratically there unless Serbia also chooses a Western democratic path.
Mr. Joseph, last question. Since we are in the phase of elections here,
Yes.
what are your expectations in Kosovo?
I can answer that very clearly. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to intervene.
Yeah.
I will voice no expectations. My message would be, I would give a message to the candidates and a message to the voters. The candidates should put forward a vision that addresses the concerns of the people, all of it, domestic and foreign. The challenge is, how are we going to improve this economy so citizens are not leaving? How are we going to establish our full sovereignty? How are we going to get into NATO? And I think the candidates should ask that. How are we going to have good relations with the United States and with EU and with NATO? How will we become a member of NATO? How will we improve our economy? And I think candidates should address that, and voters should ask the candidates these questions and any others that are important to them.
Mr. Joseph, it was a pleasure having you here in Politico, since we had an opportunity to discuss much things that are very important for Kosovo people. Thank you very much.
Kushtrim, thank you. And now, after all those tough questions, I have to go take a rest somewhere, because you wore me out with all these questions.
Were tough questions?
They were good. They were excellent questions.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ky emision mundësohet nga Stone Castle, Pavin Cafe, Petrol Company, UBT, Veli Furniture, Automita, Club Invest, P1 SHPK dhe Tech Gate.